a regular Word document or a PDF file. So they have tools that allow you to see an image in both scenarios.
Can it be inbuilt to make the background images available in the high contrast mode? Because this is a frequently used by lot of persons with disabled.
So I don't have an answer for you right now. If you could give me your contact details, I'll confirm that for you. If there's any way to do that in the current version, or if that is being worked on in the next version. That's something that I'll have to check back with the people who are designing the product. So you'll have to excuse me on that. There was another question back there. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is Purnima from Cognizant. I have a question. You said we have got the screen magnifier, right?
Yes.
As part of ease of access concept.
Yes.
Okay. Does this magnifier work with the other applications? For an example, say PDF. Adobe PDF, because PDF is not a default application that is coming with the Windows operating system.
You're right.
That is something like a user will download and install it in the OS.
Right.
So in that case, will this screen magnifier works with the PDF? This is just an example. This also can be with the other applications as well.
Yes. So good question. Whatever is available as a part of the operating system will show up with applications that are installed on the operating system. So if I have any file that is in Adobe Acrobat Reader, it will still be able to take advantage of what is available in the operating system. And I'll demonstrate that to you. So if you just bear with me for 2 minutes, I'll get to the magnifier and then I'll answer your question.
No problem. And I have one more question too.
Please tell me.
You were talking about the high contrast, right?
Yes.
You use one shortcut to change to the high contrast mode.
Yes.
And to my knowledge, we have got different high contrast options, yellow with black.
Yes.
So do you have any other shortcuts to change to different high contrast settings?
It is right now the shortcut is to move from regular mode to a high contrast mode. There are no shortcuts to get to this. You could put a memory resident program that will pick up a particular shortcut if you can combine it to change the contrast mode. You'll have to write a code for that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so let's do this. Let's move to the particular point about the magnifier, which, sorry, I forgot your name. Purnima talked about. So what is a magnifier? Magnifier is a built-in tool that magnifies a particular area of the screen, a particular, in different modes. So it could be the docked mode and so on. So let me talk about that. You can magnify up to 16 times, which means you can really go and use the magnifier for enabling how or what you want to see in the document. The higher you go with magnifier, pixelation will happen. So you'll have to decide what is the mode that of resolution that works best for you. There are 3 modes of how you can use the magnifier. One of them is the full screen mode. And the lens mode, which has been introduced in Windows 7, and the dock mode existed with Windows XP and earlier. Again, you've got shortcut keys to use the magnifier. It's a Windows key and plus or minus, depending upon how you want to zoom in or zoom out respectively, and Windows key and escape to exit the magnifier. So what I'll do is, rather than doing it on the PowerPoint presentation, I have this Word document on accessibility in Microsoft Office 2010. It's available on our stall as well, and I would recommend that you drop by at our stall and we can have a detailed conversation on all these topics. You have the magnifying capabilities in PDF itself, and I'm showing that on the screen right now. You can use the magnifier within PDF and it will magnify the entire document for you. What the magnifier in Windows lets you do is follow your pointer and magnify a particular part of the screen. So I'm going to press Windows and plus key, and it magnifies the part of the screen where your cursor is. And what it will do, as I can show you on the screen, is it will follow whatever part of the screen your mouse is on. There are different modes of the magnifier, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But let me just open up. So this is a small window that opens up whenever you invoke the magnifier, and I can continue to press Windows and plus, and it will jump through in increments to go to the magnification, like I said, of 16 times. So that is what the magnifier does. So irrespective of whichever application you are in, the magnifier will work. That's number one. Number two is magnifier comes, like I said, in 3 modes. Let me show you all the modes. There is a full screen mode, which means it will just magnify that part of the screen, but the full monitor will get covered. There is a lens mode, which essentially allows you to use it like a magnifying glass, and you can increase or decrease the size of the lens so that you can only highlight a particular area. This is typically, in some cases, we use this from a training point of view. So if I want to train, I only want to show a particular area to people. That's where I use this particular mode of the magnifier. I also have options within this particular view to, for example, turn on color inversion. So rather than turning on inversion for the entire screen, I can only turn on inversion for a particular area of the screen. So on the screen right now, I am demonstrating how you can use color inversion in the lens mode only, rather than doing inversion across the entire screen. So that's your second option. And I can increase the size of the magnifier by length or by breadth of the lens. So let me just go back to the first view that I had. Sorry, I had the full screen mode. So let's close this. Go back to settings. So on the screen also I can turn on color inversion, but then the entire screen will show up with the high contrast. And I can have the magnifier follow the text insertion point. So if I press tab, the next available place in the form, for example, where you need to type, it will take care of getting to that point. The third option is the dock mode, and in typical cases it will dock the magnified view part of the screen in a rectangular mode on top of your screen. So you need to move your mouse and focus only on the top part of your screen if you need to see a particular area, and that's really what it will allow you to do. So the magnifier therefore helps you in multiple ways. For example, when I do demonstrations, I use the magnifier a lot for an audience, for example, that is sitting at the back. But magnifier is definitely helpful depending upon your impairment, to identify what part of the screen would you like to see and how much magnification or change in contrast would you like to do. Now, there was a question at our booth when ma'am asked that question, that I am only able to see the dock mode and not the other modes. The way for you to do that is to convert your theme in Windows to an arrow mode theme. So you go into personalization in control panel and choose an arrow theme to invoke the magnifier as a dot or full screen. A full screen or lens. Otherwise, it will always come in docked mode. And after the session, I'll show you that particular setting. The next area of focus is the on-screen keyboard. So what you expect as a part of the on-screen keyboard is its ability to allow you to enter text irrespective of how you use the keyboard. So if you use the keyboard by clicking on different keys, or you are able to hover and only use a mouse, or if you can only press one key, how does the system adopt or adapt to the way you work? So you can change the color of the background, you can use high contrast themes, and the keys glow when clicked. So those are some of the fine tuning that you can do to customize the way the on-screen keyboard works for you, and I'll show that to you how it works. The keyboard is flexible, so depending upon the size of your screen, you could zoom in or stretch or pan the on-screen keyboard to meet your requirements. And you have an option, for example, just to use the num lock and extend that. So let's do something interesting, which is, let's show you the options available as a part of the on-screen keyboard. First thing that I'll do is to start Notepad, and I'll increase the font size so that people at the back are able to see this, what I may be typing. 20. And I'll invoke the on-screen keyboard. So the on-screen keyboard can be dragged and customized in terms of its size. Depending upon how you use it, you will be able to squeeze or expand the set of keys. Now, like I said, there are multiple options to use the on-screen keyboard. You could go ahead and use your mouse or keys on your keyboard to type a particular word. So I could say Techshare, and on the keyboard you will see suggested words. So it also has a built-in dictionary that allows you to look at some of the words. So you don't have to type long words like technology. I just type TE and it shows the word, and it shows the word for me and in the caps setting that I had, and automatically it makes those settings for me. What it also does is it gives me certain options. So first one, I will zoom in a little. Screen. So there are different options that are there. One is to click on keys, which I just demonstrated, which is the regular way of working. With the keyboard. The second option is to use hover keys, and let me show you what that means. When you look at a hover key, it essentially allows you to move your mouse, and it lets you then choose the key of your choice. So I go back to Notepad and I'll zoom out. So here on my keyboard, I only need to move the mouse, and if you can, and on the screen, depending upon the key on which I have my mouse, it will let me select a character or a word. So I don't need to click on a key. It will automatically select the key for me if my mouse is there for a certain period of time, which is also configurable. The third option that I have is what is called as a scan through keys. So I can choose a particular key on the keyboard that I will use, and I want you to observe what's happening. So as soon as I click the space bar, it will start running through the keyboard in the horizontal row. So depending upon which character I want, let's say I want the character L. So I will stop at that particular row, and depending upon what I'm using, it will again go and scan through the keyboard for me. So if I can only press one key, and that's the best that I can do, the keyboard will scan for me and let me choose the key that I want by only pressing the space bar. So that helps me in using the appropriate key of choice and not have to worry about navigating the full keyboard if I need to. And on the on-screen keyboard, you can define whether you want to use text prediction or not. If you would, then you can do it in multiple languages. Right now, I could choose to switch the keyboard to Hindi. If you could just bear with me for a moment. As you can see, I have the Hindi keyboard as well. That is available to me as a part of the on-screen keyboard. This is an in-script keyboard. You also get an executive keyboard if you would want to use to type in English and have the output come in another language. Okay, so let's go back to the slide deck. The third thing is to make text larger. I am sure a lot of you would already be using this. In case you do not wish to use the magnifier, you can choose to increase the resolution on the screen by default by changing the DPI settings or the dots per inch setting, and it will help you magnify the text that comes in toolbars, dialog boxes, and the regular menu items that you see as a part of Windows. So making the text larger again is accessible as a part of the ease of access center, and you would be able to use that. Right from there. All right. The last option, which some of you may know, is the ability to use touch and ink. Depending upon the monitor that you have, you can use monitors that support touch. So I could use a finger and move to the next slide, for example. Or I could also use ink. Now, the system supports multi-touch models as well, so I could zoom in and zoom out by doing a pinch and zoom like you may want to do on your phone. These systems also use what is called as ink. So I may choose to actually use my monitor, and if it supports a stylus, I can go back and make markers on top of it if I need to correct, annotate slides, and that's something that I could use as a part of how I would want to use the content. So ink and touch is native to Windows. It needs the appropriate hardware. It could be something that's on the monitor or a USB plug-in for a tablet from Wacom or the likes, and you would be able to use touch. You would be able to use ink, for example, to be able to annotate any content that you have. Okay, so now that we've talked about Windows, and I know I only have 10 minutes, you'll have to excuse the questions for now. We'll finish this and we'll open it up to questions. Is that okay? All right. So, like with Windows 7, there are a set of capabilities that we've brought in as a part of Office 2010. Office 2010 was launched in May of 2010, and it augmented some of the capabilities that were already a part of Office 2007. And we've added certain other things with the help of the DAISY consortium and an add-in to PowerPoint. Both of these are open source and are free add-ins that you can download from the SourceForge website, and the links to those are available on the Microsoft website as well as the DAISY consortium.